brood?
Yeah, let's see the brooding.
Okay.
Look into the distance. That's great.
Well, I think we love mysteries, and these are real life, and we lived through them. And, you know, we lived through the O.J. case, and even if you didn't live through it, if you were too young, you know about it. And then to get behind the scenes is pretty amazing. And the same thing, you know, the shenanigans that went on, and the jockeying for position.
Up your sleeve. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Now we're talking. He's like, get me out of here. Let's do some standing ones.
Well, I would have watched the OJ, but I ended up seeing the documentary, and the documentary was so brilliant that I didn't see the other one. But we are fascinated by it because, well, this one in particular was a 17-year journey. So that in itself, that he was able to evade them, and then what made him become who he was is also interesting. So unfortunately, there will probably be a lot of these kind of things to do shows about.
I was watching him years ago. I like kind of non-fiction stuff with it. It's stories kind of, it's stuff that you can't make up. You know, it's like with this, as you said, the actual sketch artist, not the sketch not being the sketch, but a sketch of her remembering the sketch artist, and that's who she painted. Stuff like that, I was like, you couldn't create that. I think that's what's compelling as an actor doing it. I think it's great for an audience. You know, in episode 8, when they suddenly, you know, what they do to his cabin is completely off the charts, wacky, but it happened. I don't want to spoil it, but it's such a unique thing that it took me a while to go, nah, someone's making that up. And I think that's what keeps you coming back to these kind of true crime tales.
What? Oh, photo bombs.
Yeah, I love it. One sec. Great.
All right, man. I'm good.
I mean, I think, you know, when good filmmakers and good actors are coming together to tell these stories that I know are compelling and fascinating and have their own stranger than fiction tales. I mean, during this period of time where like an enormous amount of tangible crime was happening either in pop culture or with the government, it was fascinating to see that these stories would be what we're drawing back to into the mid-90s, you know, the like Waco and OJ and Oklahoma and JonBenet and Menendez and you know, and Tim McVeigh was at Waco, and like all these weird connections to this period of time. Like it was fascinating to go back, and I was working. And my first job, which was during this time, was America's Most Wanted. So I was doing dramatizations of real cases and following the Unabomber case because I was in DC for, you know, working with law enforcement and working with FBI. So I was, and yet I only knew what the public knew. And now, like having seen the diaries and the journals and the unpublished autobiography and the case file and talking to Fitz, it's amazing to be able to bring people behind that curtain and do it in an inclusive way where they're able to follow along. So I'm curious when you see it if you found that you could follow all the ideas and if we message those well.
Cool. Okay. Love it. Nice. And we're going to do a different light setup real quick.
Cool.